Welcome back, out-of-body explorers. Today's video is about breath work for your out-of-body practice. And a lot of it does come down to how this breath work works, because that's an energy process on how I see it. Now, you can call it breath work for beginners or breath work for your meditation practice, but don't forget, this is an out-of-body exploration channel on how to do these events of leaving that body of yours. I will give you 3 of the breathwork techniques that I use for my out-of-body practice and for my clients. At the end of this video, you're going to see that the 3rd one is probably the most important one for what's going on today. So, quick background on this. I am an athlete and I've always been in good cardio shape, especially when I was young, because I was always running back and forth to places, and my mother also didn't have a license, so I was always running home from school if I didn't catch that late bus. So you had to find techniques on how to breathe in the cold, and a lot of that has to come back into play what's going on now. This is what gave me the wonderful opportunity of breathing God's earthly air. So I'm in gratitude for those moments. The closest I can explain to this technique is through pranayama breathing. Pranayama is an ancient practice of controlling your breathing. It's a yogic practice of focusing on your breath. You control the timing, duration, and the frequency of your breath by holding it at moments. And the goal of pranayama is to connect your mind and your body. That's a very, very big thing. So this is a cleansing process, and while doing this breath work, you are supplying oxygen to the body, and you are basically cleansing it and reviving it to be in a healthier state. So it becomes a healing and mind-body practice, and that's where I think we're losing sight of a lot of these yoga practices that are all about the money. Here are the 3 things that I do. My number 1 is I do nose-to-nose breathing. And when I teach it to people, I do try to connect the nose. Breathing in the nose and out the mouth is one of the first activities, but I personally do nose-to-nose breathing. And when I explain it to people, I say, remember Happy Buddha and his little belly? Well, you want to put your hand on your belly when you're inhaling, and it should expand. And then when you're exhaling, it should collapse. Okay, so you should be in sync with that kind of breath work. But when I'm laying down having an out-of-body, I do keep my hands to my side during my time to have an out-of-body experience. The only time I make that connection is when I'm into the state of waking up. When I wake up, I do the hands on my chest to connect back into my body. That's a morning practice, and I'll definitely do another video on that. But I just want you to know that this is part of this out-of-body experience practice of breathing. So that's my number 1. My number 2 breathwork technique is the 3 release breath that I personally take. Now, I also didn't know it's called lion's breath. I just do it a little differently. I do it the way it works for me, and that's why I'm explaining it to you. But one of the big reasons why I use this technique is when I have a client come in and I have to do a reading. And part of my readings are remote viewing readings on their ancestors speaking to me. So I now create an intention, and I create that intention by releasing the stress out of my body, and I make the connection of their higher self to meet my higher self, so we can meet in the middle, and I can scan all these things and give my client their information from their higher self. So in order for me to do that is that 3 release breaths that I do, and here's how I do it. I breathe through my nose, and I do keep my eyes closed. And then I open up my mouth and I say, I don't stick my tongue out like that lion's breath, and then I will repeat it again. And then for the last one, I will go, and I do it 3 times. Then I will recover, and I will continue having a rhythmic breath in the nose, out the nose, and then I do my scribble and I start to scan. So that's why I do that one. But if you study lion's breath, it's to release the stress out of yourself and to clear yourself to enter into those other multidimensional moments. That's how I explain it. As a yoga teacher, they may explain it differently, but I'm just telling you, I clear my space and I let that space come through, but I'm always in love and gratitude and protection when I have a client come in. I also cleanse my area through a vibrational state of either a bell sound or a crystal bowl sound, but I will chime it out. Very important, but that's how I do it when I have people come into my space. And my third one, which I think is the most important one of them all for what's going on in the world, is called tactical breathing. And that is used by the military and law enforcement to control the stress when they are in situations. And I think it's really interesting because it's a big thing with the Navy SEALs. And one of my past lives was being in the military and being a commander-in-chief. So it's really interesting that I'm very connected to this kind of breath work. And I want to explain to you how it works. You basically do all your exercises with your mouth completely closed. Why I think it's the most important is because you end up cleansing your pineal gland, which has already been calcified by all of those bad things that we have been eating and using. So I want you to know, at the end of you trying to work this out, you will have a little bit of a cool feeling in your head. It may feel like a sinus infection starting to happen, but in reality it's just a cleansing and cooling process so that you make that connection with the earth's vibration into your body and you start to become a little bit freer and connected to source. All right, out-of-body explorers, write in the comments if that has helped you cleanse your pineal gland or at least has helped you in your meditations. I'd love to hear about it, or I'd love to hear about any of your stories in your out-of-body state. All right, press like and subscribe, and I will see you next week.